Hey YouTube, in this deck profile we're going to be doing the updated Royal Paladin Altmile deck, Altmile GB2 Stride deck, because if you guys watched the unboxing videos, you would have seen how Altmile like literally trolled me so much. He did back in BT04, g-bt04, I pulled SP. I literally pulled like all four. I think I pulled three, I only had to get the fourth one. Or something like that, but it was ridiculous. And then in set 6, I go and pull the GR instead of the Asha GR, which is really disappointing because I really wanted the Asha one, because I definitely prefer Neo Nectar over Royal Paladin. And then I go and pull the secret rare Altmile as well instead of the Asha one. So at least I didn't pull the Revenger one, because that would have been, I mean, I would have used it, but I don't care because I've had that deck forever. But yeah, so I built the deck because, I mean, obviously I've already had the deck, but now I was able to upgrade the deck literally based off of just buying random, just like 4 booster boxes and pulling everything I needed out of them, all 4. So without further ado, let's get into the deck. So the deck consists of 4 Blue Sky Altmile. He's a pretty good unit. If you guys saw my live stream back when the beta for Cardfight Online was out, I played against a lot of opponents that were using this deck, so fairly familiar with it by now. And then I get to play as it myself now that I have all the cards. But anyway, it's I would say it's pretty hard to build right now because it's gone up in popularity. I feel like this deck is literally now at the same level as Sanctuary Guard. The only difference is because of the whole GB restriction, GB1 and GB2 restriction. The deck is not as fast as Sanct Guard, and that's the reason why Sanct Guard is still probably the better deck. But I feel like in terms of power, this is like right up there with Jewel Knights. It's really ridiculous now. The Brave, this deck actually is the Brave build, so you'll see a lot of Brave units. Speaking of Brave units, I'm running 2 Model Knight Orhan. So just like Xion in the show in his match against Kai, so I kind of built the deck with the same type of lineup. This guy's pretty good. He's got Brave, and I'm surprised at how many Royal Paladin Brave units they got that are actually useful compared to other clans. We won't mention any names, but some other clans got stuff that wasn't so great, and other clans got stuff that was great. So Royal Paladin got some pretty great Brave units if you want to play the Brave style. Another one is Knight of Light Order. I just put 2 and 2 because I don't really want to ride either of these as the main Vanguard. This guy is pretty good as a backup though. He only has Vanguard effects, but she has Vanguard and Rearguard effect, and she has Brave. So both of them are pretty good. I feel actually, in playtesting the deck, I feel like she's actually more useful just because of her Rearguard effect. But yeah, so 2 and 2 doesn't really matter. Like I said, I didn't have to, basically I just pulled everything that I needed. So that's the grade 3 lineup. For grade 2s, I'm still running 4 Twin Sword because Twin Sword is still really, really, really good. He's probably one of the few units that does not have Brave. That's still one of the essential units. The next grade 2 is 4 Counteroffensive Knight Suleiman or something like that. But anyway, this Aladdin looking guy, he looks pretty cool. He has Brave. He basically replaces, I forgot the guy's name, but it was the Glimmer Breath Dragon clone. You don't really need it anymore, so 4 of him because he's for the Brave build. Pretty good. Next, 2 Shine Gull. Shine Gull replaces Tech Gull as the dog unit, or the wolf, or whatever he is, the high beast. But yeah, when he attacks Vanguard on GB1 with Brave, Brave basically it means you have 3 or less cards in hand. So basically they've kind of shifted Royal Paladin more to being kind of like a rush style, almost like Nova Grapplers in a sense, but they just don't have the ability to restand the rear guards unless you run the stand triggers, which this deck actually is running. But they get pretty large, ridiculous numbers, like pretty ridiculous, like not as high as what you see in Neo Nectar, but usually it's a lot more consistent. So It's pretty good. Next we have 2 Hope Song Angel. This guy is just, he's not brave, but he's there to search brave units, basically. So Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, was placed on VRR, search your deck for up to 1 card with brave, call to R and shuffle the deck. So, the thing I don't like about him is the 8k, but 8k really in this deck, what I found, does not matter at all, because the numbers get ridiculous, so you easily turn 5k blocks into 10k blocks, and then you require like 2 10ks instead of a 10 and a 5, and then it just goes up from there. So the 8k doesn't really hurt him too much, and I also like that he's not GB restricted, so he's one of the few cards in the deck that's a new card that actually doesn't have a GB restriction. So I like him for that. So 12 grade 2, because the deck is all about calling grade 2s. For grade 1s, as you might have guessed, I am running 4 of the Hope Keeper, because she is, in addition to being the new Sentinel, she has the Brave ability. So the fact that you have this guy, well actually no, because he calls it, but you do have, yeah, you won't be able to search her to the hand, unlike some other clan that I know of that has the capability of actually searching perfect cards to the hand now, pretty consistently. But Hope Keeper is still pretty nice because it's a brave unit. I actually found myself using that effect probably like 2 or 3 times out of maybe 6 matches, so it's pretty good. Next, for Headwind Knight Selim, he is the main grade 1 that has Brave, so that's why we're running 4 copies of him. Basically, his Brave skill is, if you have a Vanguard with Atmile in its name, this unit gets 3k, so he becomes a 10k boost, or even attacker. And the really good thing about him, the really nice thing about him is, similar to the Shadow Paladin guy, the grade 2 that becomes a grade 1 while it's in the deck, if you have a Diablo, I think, or maybe it was Blaster. Atmile, if you have an Atmile and he's in the deck, he becomes a grade 2. So essentially, he kind of allows you to superior call him from the deck, because he'll be a grade 2 in the deck, but it's kind of like a way to work around the weakness that this deck had of not being able to call any grade 1s. So, really good card. Definitely recommend like 3 at least, and then 4. Next, 3 Laurel Knight. I'm a little bit kind of like back and forth with whether to run 3 or 4 of this. So if I run 4, then I'll probably drop him to 3. But I found him early, or like with the first stride, having him live to be able to rush the opponent quick is just really good with a 10k boost like everywhere. So with Twin Sword calling him out and stuff, it gets pretty crazy. And then the last grade 2 is Scouting Owl. He also has Brave, and I like that he's a defensive card. So because Brave forces you to commit to the field a lot and basically play with low hand, he's there to, during the opponent's turn, like when you're guarding, you can Soul Blast 1. If you have Brave active on this card, you can move him to the Guardian Circle at rest, and he gets 5k. So he becomes a 10k shield, essentially. So pretty unique, interesting defensive type of unit, which I kind of like those type of units, because I feel like they're a little bit underrated, but they can pretty much save you in a couple of situations that you can find yourself in. So definitely, I recommend trying out like 2 copy. For anyone who's trying to build a Brave deck, I recommend Scouting Owl. Shion uses him in the episodes quite a bit, since he switched to Brave. For the trigger lineup, 4 of the new Brave Stan, Saurogal, mainly because he has Brave, so we can use that ability. And then 8 criticals, just the Atmile critical, and then 4 more, doesn't matter what it is, and the heals don't really matter, but just run 4 of them. And then the starter is the new Atmile starter, so Resurgence Knight. He's not even an Atmile starter, he's basically the Brave starter. So they actually got a pretty decent Brave starter. What he does is when you have Brave GB1, put him in the soul, choose up to 1 of your other rear guards, and it gets 5k, and it also gets the rear guard effect of when, at the end of the turn, return this unit to the hand. So you can actually bounce that unit back to the hand, so that because you're on Brave, you are low hand, so it kind of adds it back to the hand. So pretty good, decent starter, I would say. Doesn't use any counterblast. I like how a lot of the new starters don't use counterblast. So it allows you to be able to conserve counterblast, not have to worry too much about unflipping. So we don't need to run Holy Guardian. For the Stride lineup, pretty much it's like all the Stride units that I have for Royal Paladin right now. So I did pull Transcending the Heavens Atmile. He's typically your second or third Stride. Of course, we're going to run the one Divine Knight of Flashing Flame Samuel. I almost never use him, but there's probably like 1 out of 8 games I may use this card or may have the opportunity to actually use it. But ever since this guy came out, it's like this is the go-to strategy to win. Very similar to New Nectar, just get huge numbers and attack. But he's still there. It's an interesting effect. 2, go Blade because I don't really have anything else. I don't invest too much in Royal Paladin. I just kind of like get lucky and pull all their stuff. And then 4, Atmile, 1 is SP. All these were just pretty much pulled from packs back when set 4 came out. So yeah, so 4 Atmile. So we have access to the ability to actually use him twice, where you can use him as the first stride, so you get GB2 active on your Atmile grade 3, and then you can go into this guy, or you can go into him again and get his secondary effect. So it just really depends, but I found myself mainly using these guys as the go-to strategy, and then these guys are kind of like usually this will flip up one of these. It depends on how I feel. If I can close out the game early, I'll flip up one of these and forgo the fact that I won't be able to, or forgo the opportunity to be able to use him a second time, since I only have 1 copy of this. But it depends. Sometimes I'll flip up one of these with him instead, so to conserve the other 2 so I can use them on a subsequent turn. So it just depends on how the match goes, really. But anyway, guys, that's my Atmile Royal Paladin Stride deck. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks.